Good morning children. Now we will study the oxygen, and oxygen, you know, oxygen exists as diatomic molecule as O2 in the form of a gas, so it is called as dioxygen. For the oxygen we can say it is dioxygen also. So dioxygen we have to study here preparation, properties and usage. So first, for the preparation, dioxygen can be obtained in the laboratory by the following methods. In the laboratory we can prepare first by heating potassium chloride, or you can say by the decomposition of potassium chloride. So potassium chloride is rich in oxygen when it is strongly heated in the presence of manganese dioxide. Then potassium chloride breaks down into potassium chloride and oxygen gas. So in the laboratory, the oxygen or dioxygen is prepared by the thermal decomposition of potassium chloride. It is thermal decomposition because by heating it decomposes into potassium chloride and the oxygen gas. So this is the laboratory preparation. Now the second is by the thermal decomposition of oxides of metals low in the electrochemical series and higher oxide of some metal. In the electrochemistry we study some metals are having the high reduction potential like the silver, mercury, lead. They have high reduction potential. So their oxide when heated, they gives off oxygen. So on the basis of their reduction potential, oxide of some metal can be easily decomposed to form oxygen gas. For example, the silver oxide when heated, Ag2O is heated, then it is converted into silver and oxygen. The mercury, in this reaction, the mercuric oxide when heated, then it is converted into mercury and oxygen. Now for the lead, this is a combination of two lead oxide, the PbO2 and PbO, so the formula is Pb3O4. When it is heated, then it is converted lead oxide with the release of oxygen. So here the oxygen will be formed. So when we heat the lead oxide, you will get the PbO plus O2, and when PbO2, that is Pb4 oxide, when it is heated, then it is converted into lead oxide and oxygen. Now the third we can prepare from the hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is thermodynamically unstable and it is easily decomposed into water and oxygen. So when we use the catalyst, then the reaction will be speed up in the presence of manganese dioxide. When a small amount of manganese dioxide is added here, then the hydrogen peroxide will break down into water and oxygen. So we can prepare oxygen by the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. Now fourth, we can prepare by the electrolysis of water. In the electrolysis of water, you have studied that when we electrolyze the water, then water will decompose to form oxygen and hydrogen gas. So on the large scale, oxygen is prepared by the electrolytic decomposition of water. So when we pass electricity through water, then it decomposes. We can write here 2H2O. When we pass electricity, then it is converted into hydrogen and oxygen. So this is by the electrolysis of water. And then industrially, oxygen is prepared by the compression of air. Air is compressed and then it is liquefied, and after fractional distillation we can separate the oxygen. So in this way we can prepare the oxygen. Now we will study the properties of the oxygen. Now for the properties, you know about some properties of the oxygen. Exists as diatomic molecule O2. It is a colorless, odorless gas. And then it is soluble in water. Due to solubility in water, there is the existence of the aquatic life. So it is soluble in water And then the next it exists in the form of 3 isotopic form, that is O16, O17 and O18, where O18 is the radioisotope of oxygen. And in the 11th class you study the oxygen is having the paramagnetic behavior. When oxygen is passed through the magnetic field, due to the presence of unpaired electron in the oxygen molecule, it shows the paramagnetic behavior. So it is paramagnetic in nature. And then we can classify the chemical reaction of oxygen into 2 parts. First for the metal and then for the non-metal. Metal and non-metal. Now for the metals, we can write the reaction. Oxygen is very reactive reactive non-metal. So it reacts with the metals to form their oxide. So either that we can divide in metallic oxide and non-metallic oxide. So you know the sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminium, they react with the oxygen directly and they form the metal oxide. They will study the oxygen layer, surface of the aluminium metal is covered with the oxide layer of aluminium. So in this way they directly combines with the metal to form their corresponding oxide. Now when calcium reacts with the oxygen, it forms calcium oxide. This is one example you can say. Then when the aluminium reacts, when aluminium is heated with oxygen, then it is converted into Al2O3. Now we can balance it. 3O2 and 4Al. So here we can write the reaction with the metal. So in this way the oxygen reacts with the metal to form their corresponding oxide. Then we can divide into non-metal also. In the non-metal we can write the carbon react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Sulfur react with oxygen, burn in air, then it forms the sulfur dioxide. When phosphorus is burned in air, then it forms phosphorus pentoxide. P2O5, then we could, P2O5, then you could put 4 here, 2 here, and then we can write 5O2. So those you can balance the reaction. So non-metals like carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, when they are burnt in oxygen, they form their corresponding oxide. So in this way there is the formation of the non-metallic oxide which are acidic in nature. And in it combines your study about when sulfides are heated. Like when zinc sulfide is heated in oxygen, then it is converted into zinc oxide with the release of sulfur dioxide. So here we can say there is the reaction between the sulfide and then many combustion reactions are there when methane, ethane, propane, butane. When hydrocarbons are burned in oxygen, then they form the carbon dioxide and water. I am writing one here when methane is burned in air, then it is converted into carbon dioxide and water. We can write 2H2 or 2O2. So the reaction will be balanced. And so this is some oxidation reaction, because oxygen, when oxygen is added, the reactions are called as oxidation reaction. So this is an example of oxidation reaction. So these are some oxidation reaction. There are some reaction in which the oxidation takes place in the presence of the catalyst. Then it is called catalytic oxidation. In the catalytic oxidation, we can write the oxidation of sulfur dioxide. When sulfur dioxide is heated with oxygen in the presence of catalyst, then it is converted into sulfur trioxide. So in the presence of catalyst, it is converted into sulfur trioxide. That is the basis for the formation or the manufacture of the sulfuric acid. Here we can take vanadium pentoxide. Sometimes we use nitric oxide. So in this way we can write the chemical reaction of the oxygen. Now we study about the oxides. First we define what are the oxides. The binary compounds of oxygen with other elements are called oxides. Other element means it may be the metallic or non-metallic oxide. You have already know about the different types of oxide, like the oxides of metal and non-metal. So in many cases, one element forms two or more oxides. You know about the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen form different oxide, nitrous oxide, nitric oxide, etc. So the oxides vary widely in their nature and properties. So these oxides are having the different properties. Oxide can be simple, for example, calcium, magnesium or aluminum oxide, or a mixed oxide, that is Pb3O4 and Fe3O4. Fe3O4 is a mixture of ferrous oxide and ferric oxide, that is FeO, that is the combination of FeO and Fe2O3. In the lead oxide also, that is a combination of lead oxide and PbO4. So in this way, PbO2. So in this way, it is a combination of the mixture. So they are called as mixed oxide. The simple oxide can be classified on the basis of their acidic, basic or amphoteric character. Now we can classify the oxides on the basis of their nature. Nature means when they are dissolved in water, then what will be the nature of these oxides. On the basis of this, they are classified as acidic oxide, basic oxides and the amphoteric and neutral oxide. Now first we will study the acidic oxides. The acidic oxides, when dissolved in water to form oxyacids, are called as acidic oxide. Normally when non-metal like the carbon, sulfur and chlorine, nitrogen, when they combine with the oxygen, they form their oxides. And when these oxides are dissolved into water, they form oxyacids. So they are called as acidic oxide. These oxides are generally formed by non-metals. Example are carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, chlorine, dichloro, heptaoxide and 2O5 nitrogen pentaoxide. So in this way, these oxides are formed. And now we can take the example when carbon dioxide dissolved in water form carbonic acid. And this is carbonic acid. And when nitrogen pentoxide is dissolved in water, it forms nitric acid. So in this way, they are formed the acidic compound, or they are formed acids, so they are called as acidic oxide. Some oxides of metal in high oxidation state have acidic character, that you will study in the D block element also. So some metals like the manganese, chromium and vanadium. This is manganese oxide, chromium oxide and then vanadium pentoxide. These oxides, when they have the acidic character and they form their oxides. Manganic acid, this form the chromic acid, and vanadium is vanadic acid. So in this way they form the acidic. So some oxides of metal in their higher oxidation state, they have acidic character. So that we will study later. Now the basic oxides. The oxides which give a base with water are known as basic oxide. Normally the metals form, this is the oxides of metals which are more electropositive in nature. So their oxides are basic in nature. Examples are sodium oxide, calcium oxide and barium oxide. You have studied the calcium oxide when combines with water to give calcium hydroxide a base, and that's why we can say the calcium oxide is basic in nature. Generally, metal oxides are basic in nature. So when we dissolve barium oxide, barium hydroxide, sodium oxide is dissolved into water, you will get sodium hydroxide. So in this way we can say these oxides are basic in nature. The next is the amphoteric oxides. The oxides which react with acid and base both are called as amphoteric oxide. So oxide which react with the acid and base both are called as amphoteric oxide. Some metallic oxides are amphoteric in nature. For example, aluminum oxide, zinc oxide, tin oxide. These are the example of amphoteric oxide. Now we take the example of aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is amphoteric in nature. So aluminum oxide reacts with acid as well as alkalis or base. Aluminum oxide when react with hydrochloric acid, and this is for the water in the solution, it forms hexa aqua aluminium ion, or that form the aluminium and the chloride ion will be there. When aluminium oxide react with the sodium hydroxide, that is a base, then it forms sodium hexahydroxyaluminate. So these compounds are formed, or you can say the aluminium reacts with the HCl and sodium hydroxide. In simple way you can write it forms aluminium chloride and it will be sodium aluminate. So this is the reaction for the aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide can react with acid and base. So this oxide is amphoteric in nature. Now next is the neutral oxide. The oxide which neither combine with acid or with base to form salt, or they are neutral in nature, they are called as the neutral oxides. For example, carbon monoxide is a neutral oxide, nitrous oxide and nitric oxide are the neutral oxides. So these are the example of the neutral oxides. So they do not react with the acid or base, and that's why they are called as neutral oxide. Now we'll study about the ozone, preparation and properties of the ozone. So ozone is an allotropic form of oxygen. You know the non-metal shows allotropy. So ozone is an allotrope of oxygen. Ozone is present in sufficient amounts in the atmosphere at higher altitude. You know the atmosphere is covered with the layer of ozone which is called as ozone layer. It is formed from atmospheric oxygen in the presence of sunlight. This ozone layer protects the Earth's surface from an excessive concentration of ultraviolet radiation. Ozone absorbs the ultraviolet radiation, and so they protect us from the effect of ultraviolet radiation. That you are studying the depletion of ozone layer, that you have studied in the lower classes in the 10th class also. So there is when this layer will be broken, then it will be harmful. The ultraviolet radiation will come on the earth and then it will harm to us. Now we will study the preparation of the ozone. Ozone is obtained by passing silent electric discharge through the dry oxygen. It is formed due to the dissociation of some of oxygen molecules into atomic oxygen, which combines with oxygen molecules to form ozone. Ozone is prepared from the oxygen. Then it is converted into 2O3. Actually, the oxygen molecule O2 will decompose to form 2O oxygen atom. Now these oxygen atom again combined with the oxygen, we can write O2 plus O will form O3. So in this way there is a formation of ozone. One molecule of oxygen will break down into atomic oxygen, and then this atomic oxygen will combine with the other oxygen molecule to form ozone. At 298 Kelvin, the enthalpy for the reaction is plus 142 kilojoule per mole. Since the formation of ozone from oxygen is an endothermic process, it is necessary to use a silent electric discharge in its preparation to prevent its decomposition. That's why we are using here the silent electric discharge, because this reaction is endothermic in nature. So this is for the preparation of the ozone. So ozone, this is the laboratory preparation, you can say. So the ozone is prepared in this way. Now we'll study the properties of the ozone. Now first we'll study the physical properties. And the physical properties, ozone is a pale blue gas with a characteristic strong smell. It is a gas, and that is the light blue with pale blue color gas, and it is having a very strong smell. It is heavier than air. Third point, it can be liquefied to pale blue liquid at 160 Kelvin, and at 23.3 Kelvin it forms violet black crystals. So these are the physical properties of the ozone. Now if the concentration of ozone is less, then it's okay, but when the concentration of ozone is increases, when we inhale it, then it is harmful. Now we'll study the chemical properties. Ozone is thermodynamically unstable with respect to oxygen. Since its decomposition into oxygen results in the liberation of heat, that is delta H is negative, and an increase in entropy delta S is positive. That means when ozone break down into, you can reverse this reaction, when ozone break down into oxygen, then for this process delta H is negative, the process is exothermic, and delta S is that is entropy change is also positive, and that's why it favors the decomposition of ozone. And that's why we can say the ozone is thermodynamically unstable. These two effects like the entropy and then the enthalpy. These two effects reinforce each other, resulting in large negative gas-free energy in delta G for its conversion into oxygen. And this is the decomposition. O3 breaks down into ozone plus oxygen. For this process, there is increase in the entropy. You can see the two species are formed here. So there is increase in the entropy, so it will favor the decomposition of ozone. Due to the ease with which it liberates atoms of nascent oxygen, O3 to O2 plus O, it acts as powerful oxidizing agent. Now we'll write the chemical properties for its oxidizing property of this. First, it oxidizes lead sulfide to lead sulfate. Lead sulfide is black in color. When we pass ozone over it, then its color changes to white color due to the formation of lead sulfate with oxygen and decompose. So now the first lead sulfide, and it is a very important equation of the ozone. Many times they asked in the examination. So the lead sulfide is converted into lead sulfate. I am repeating, lead sulfide is black in color. When we pass ozone over it, then it is converted into white color compound, that is lead sulfate. Second, it oxidizes hydrochloric acid into chlorine, hydrobromic acid into bromine, and HI into iodine. One example is here, 2HCl plus ozone, it is converted into H2O plus Cl2 plus O2. So we can write with HBr also. The product will be H2O, Br2 plus oxygen. So in this way we can write the reaction for all the acid. Now the third point, it oxidizes iodide into iodine. When it reacts with the potassium iodide, then iodide ion which is present in Ki, that will be oxidized into iodine. And this iodine will be violet in color, so we can identify it. When ozone reacts with an excess of potassium iodide solution, Buffered with the borate buffer, iodine is liberated, which can be titrated against a standard solution of sodium thiosulfate, which is called as hyposolution, using starch as an indicator. This is the quantitative method for estimating ozone gas. So in this way we get that this is the oxidation of iodine into iodine. Now next is, it oxidizes nitric oxide into nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen oxide combine very rapidly with ozone, and there is the possibility that nitrogen oxidizes emitted in the atmosphere. You know, when the supersonic jets move or the nitric oxide are formed due to combustion, they easily oxidize with the ozone to form nitrogen dioxide that you can see here. So this is the one of the reason for the depletion of the ozone layer. Now the next is the structure of the ozone. For the structure of ozone, you can see here I have drawn the structure, and in this structure, this is a structure. The oxygen is here. Oxygen is sp2 hybridized, and these electrons show this is there is a formation of double bond, and this is a coordinate one because 6 electrons are here. And this oxygen also having 6 electrons, 2 are shared and 1 is donated to this oxygen atom. So this is the structure of ozone, and this is the resonating. In this way we can make double bond here, so you will get the resonating structure of ozone. The central oxygen atom in ozone is sp2 hybridized. The two oxygen bond lengths in the ozone molecule are identical, that is 128 picometer, and the molecule is angular with a bond angle 117 degree. It is a resonance hybrid of two main forms. In the examination they ask why the two bonds in ozone molecule are identical. So you can write the answer for it. Due to the resonance, the two oxygen bond lengths are equal because they are having some double bond character. Each bond length is in between single and double bond. So due to resonance, the two bonds in ozone molecule, these two bonds is oxygen bond, this bond and this bond. These two bonds are identical or having equal bond length, that is due to the resonance of ozone molecule. So this is the description for the ozone. In the next class, we will study about the sulfur.